take things at face value, you'll be less anxious. You'll be able to get over your own mental barriers because you no longer look at it like the usual thing that it is, which is that fear, that anxiety that you get from that activity that you know you should be taking.
Right.
This is the Leo Clamaco Podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the Leo Clamaco Podcast. I'm your host, Leo. Today's guest is a serial entrepreneur. He loves to travel the world. He owns a marketing company called Kearns Marketing. Sergio Troconis. What's up, bro?
Me. Good to be here, bro.
I'm so happy you're here.
Likewise. It's been a long time coming.
Yes, it has.
Yeah.
We met about 2 years ago. At one of Ray's events.
One of Ray's events, yeah.
And I feel like we connected, but never really pushed that ball further until now.
That's a mistake a lot of people make, man.
I feel like you and I stayed like observing each other.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Watching what each other's doing.
Correct.
And then I think life has the right timing for everything. Mm-hmm. I don't think I was ready, to be honest. Mm-hmm. I was in a place where I was discovering myself, I was building, I was growing. And I think the time finally came for us to connect, and now we're here.
I love it. Yeah, that's what we were talking off camera is you're always figuring yourself out.
Yes.
And there might be information that we had to experience first to then finally be here.
Right.
To be able to help more people, right? There's people who might be listening to this and hear something that actually helps them in their life. I've had people DM me recently with just shit that I've been talking about. It's like, man, I've been following you for years. I don't know who they are. And it's helped them, you know.
Right.
So I agree. I'm happy to be here.
You'd be surprised how many of those people are out there.
Yeah.
That are quiet, that don't say a word, that rarely like your stuff, your reels or whatever, or stories. Yep. But they're learning, they're observing, they're watching. I love that.
And I think that's the position you got to put yourself in, right? If you're lucky enough to have the mentality of being a leader and to be an entrepreneur, you know, the happiest people are the people who think the least about themselves, who think more about others when they take action. It's just funny to think of it that way, right?
Makes sense.
And you look at the most successful people, it's people who are constantly thinking about the planet or other people, their customer comes first.
Living in service.
And I've just realized that with people who I have no idea who they are. I probably met them once or twice, and people who I've never met before in my life text me or DM me and say, hey, man, whatever you said either saved my life. That's one that I got not too long ago, which was pretty powerful.
That's incredible.
That's always going to stick with me. And other ones that it's just like, you've helped me through tough times. It's funny because we're both going together through our own tough times, relative, right? It's just a beautiful thing, social media, what it's done.
So I can agree to that. I think you've definitely helped me out a lot. Okay. You have this James Bond GQ vibe to you. You do, you really do. Yeah. But it's approachable.
Okay.
It's not something that like you feel like you're not attainable. And the things that you speak about are very powerful. And it comes out with a lot of power. It comes out with a lot of confidence. And you can tell that you know what you're talking about. You know? It's helped me out a lot because in this journey, so I began podcasting because I had a stuttering issue. Okay. And I wanted to get rid of it.
I did not tell at all.
I took 2 years of speaking classes.
Wow.
Yeah. Invested a shitload of money. Went to someone who taught Russell Brunson.
Russell Brunson.
How to speak and how to perform on stage.
Wow.
So after that, I got so comfortable in speaking that I started public speaking.
Wow.
And I began this podcast.
Yeah.
You know, and seeing people like you who have the confidence and the drive and are out there doing things motivates me. You know, I don't see it as competition. I see it as, man, I love that frequency. I love that energy. How can I get there?
Right.
You know?
Right. Well, you're one of the few people that actually do something about it. You know, the speech, is it called speech therapy or just public speaking,
it was
coaching?
I probably should have gone to a speech pathologist.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
Right. You pushed through with repetition.
I did. I did a lot of hypnotherapy.
Right.
Which was part of getting I guess, rid of that fear of that stage fright.
Okay.
And it's gone.
Right. You just kind of put yourself in front of it.
Basically.
You
I faced
face
it.
your fears.
Exactly.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that because for me, one of my biggest fears, now that we're getting vulnerable here, is speaking outside of my place. Speaking outside, literally in a coffee shop, walking down the street, because you feel people staring.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
In the moment, and this happened in Europe, it's been just constant over the last, how many years? 7 years of entrepreneurship.
Do you mean like
different.
talking on your phone on a live? Is that what you mean?
No. Talking outside, just in public, like
Got
doing
it.
public speaking
Got it.
in front of other people.
Got
right?
it.
I went to Parque Retiro in Madrid, hundreds of people walking around, and one day it just clicked. One day it's like, this is the next step, and I'm sure that happened to you. Like, my next step is public speaking, podcasting.
Yes.
And this is what I need to do. For me, I took another approach, which is just making myself feel as ridiculous as possible, which is getting in front of the camera, literally in front of 100 people, and start talking shit. And it just clicked for me.
Yeah.
And that's personally, that's like my next level, right? From speaking inside of closed doors about what I do, how I pitch, whatever it is that I'm speaking on camera, now I'm doing it outside. It was always a thing for me, but it's a constant stepping stone that you start to realize.
What I'm hearing is that you forced yourself to be comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Exactly. You put yourself in the situation that you're most scared of,
Yeah.
and then you all of a sudden realize that it's not as bad as you thought.
What's that quote? Everything you want is on the other side of fear.
Exactly. Yeah. Fear kills everything. I mean, fear has killed a lot of hopes and dreams for many people.
Yeah.
And I see it all over the place. I mean, I've worked with people who have told me their wildest dreams, and I still don't see them doing it. It's a fear.
100%. And fear is really an illusion.
It's made up by you.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
You have the power to create the fear.
Correct.
But you also have the power to create the life that you want.
Yeah, you have the power to kill that fear.
Yeah.
I like to say, actually spoke to somebody about this yesterday. Look at everything at face value, right? Whether it's a good situation, bad situation, awkward situation, anxious.
Right.
The only person who puts the label on that is you.
Yes.
If you take things at face value, you'll be less anxious. You'll be able to get over your own mental barriers because you no longer look at it like the usual thing that it is, which is that fear, that anxiety that you get from that activity that you know you should be taking,
Right.
but you're not because of fear. And it's like almost a meditative thought that I've always heard of with these gurus. I followed Sadhguru.
I love
Joe
Sadhguru.
Dispenza. Yeah, he's the man. And it's always just looking at things as a background perspective and realizing that you are not your thoughts. You're not supposed to take in those thoughts literally.
Yes.
You're supposed to perceive them and take your own decision as your own.
Talking about Sadhguru, I know exactly where you're going with this. One of his yoga meditations is, I am not the body, I am not even the mind.
Yeah.
You are the observer.
I've done like a 30-minute video of that one.
Yes, it's so good.
Yeah.
And he's really good at showing you that your thoughts are meant to be just like the clouds passing by.
Yep.
Observe them, look at it, let it pass by.
Yep.
We get too consumed. I think we feel like every thought requires an action,
Yeah,
you know?
that's true.
And we go down that spiral of that thought.
Well, that's why it's good to write things down. You know, and I lack at this sometimes, but whenever you have a good idea or you have an anxious idea or something like that, you write it down. It's like you're deleting all the space from your mind that's being taken up by that.
Clear the hard drive.
Clear the hard drive, exactly. So writing things down has really helped me with that one, especially great ideas that you tend to forget because then other thoughts, like the moving cloud is a perfect example. But just taking that perspective of, you know, it's just a thought. You're not supposed to take it literal.
Exactly.
Has helped me a ton. But it took me a while to realize that.
The other one that really helps me, I'm very big into science. I'm a nerd when it comes to like planets and universe and quantum physics. I love all that. But it's given me a different level of understanding of the world.
Okay.
right? Like, I truly, truly, truly understand that, like, we're here for a purpose. The universe was created here to support you. All you got to do is tap into your own energy. We think that everything is external,
Right.
but it's really internal.
Yep.
Right? The work that we do within ourselves reflects out.
Correct.
Right? And I think that the idea that helps me is the idea of the wave collapsing in quantum mechanics. Right? Like, we live in a field of probability.
Right.
And depending on what decision you make, that's where the reality is going to collapse in. But I think what gives me comfort is an understanding that the decision of that wave collapsing has already been predetermined for me.
Elaborate.
So I believe that even though there's a wave of possibilities, there's always one possibility that will outweigh the others.
Okay.
And I think that 9 out of 10, that's where the wave collapses.
Got it.
There may be that one
Right.
where we shift dimensions and it goes in the other direction,
right,
right? But I think 9 out of 10, it's already pre-designed where it's going to collapse.
Would you think that you would get to that wave that's the right one for you if you're in the right frequency?
100%.
And if you're in the wrong frequency at the wrong time, then you unfortunately get stuck in the
Exactly.
wrong wave over
Exactly.
and over.
Or you don't even see the waves,
Right. Right.
right? You don't even know it's there.
The opportunity isn't seen.
Exactly.
Yeah. I like the saying, the eyes don't see. You know when you're looking for something and you're looking for one thing, but then you forgot that the thing looks like this and it was right in front of you the whole time. The eyes don't see, man. It's crazy.
That's your tattoo.
11-11.
No, but the eye, you were saying earlier, the eyes don't see.
The eyes don't see.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, everything is, I like that example, which kind of falls against free will, right?
Right.
But it's true, though, because you set yourself up to perceiving certain opportunities, to perceiving certain things that
Right.
the eyes wouldn't see because you're not prepared to see it. It's a very true thing.
And I think for you to see, you got to feel it first. And if you're not in tune with yourself,
I've been trusting my intuition recently.
100%.
Shit works.
Yes.
Yeah.
It knows more than you think. It knows everything.
How many neurons are in the gut versus the mind? There's a lot
So
more
many.
in the gut,
Yeah.
believe it or not.
Yeah.
And I heard that and I'm like, fuck, I'm just going to start trusting it. Obviously a calculated trust, right?
Right.
Sometimes you start feeling that type of FOMO perspective within your intuition, and that's not actually your intuition. That's just your brain telling you to not miss out on things. So you got to be very careful on what you need to choose to listen to.
Right.
But I have been listening to my intuition, and I have been able to get myself out of certain things and get myself into certain things that have been very good for me recently.
Like what?
Man, I wish I could say that we're just going through a situation over the last year and a half. And I'll talk about this publicly when it's said and done. But man, it's been a fucking journey. It's been a journey of finding myself, being able to stay on top while dealing with the most difficult challenge of my life, and at the same time continue winning. It's a very, very difficult
Dance.
It's a great way to put it. It's a very, very difficult dance. And ultimately, you just get to the point where you're just like, I'm tired, man. I'm just tired. I'm just going to trust my intuition.
Yes.
Shit just starts happening. You let go.
100%.
You let go.
You
know,
accept.
You try to control 100% of the things in your life, and it's just funny how when you try to do that, the wrong things happen.
100%. Because you're trying to play God.
You try to play God.
You're not God.
Exactly.
You can control only what you can. What you cannot, put it in his hands.
Right.
Or her hands, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, his, her hands, whatever.
Whatever.
It is. Like,
it's energetic hands.
energetic. People put their own description to it.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's the same concept. You know, I like the conversation about God because I heard this once. God exists because if everybody is influenced by a certain ideology and it happens, that means it exists because it becomes reality. Right? some people might say, no, God doesn't exist, or this energetic field does. Well, why are there so many people believing the same thing and acting the same way and causing the same result
Right.
and action and bringing the same activity into this planet?
Right.
Well, obviously it exists, right? It might
100%.
just be an idea, might just whatever you want to think about it, but it exists, you know, whole concept of energy.
Sergio, let's get into, a little bit into your background.
Yeah, less spiritual stuff.
Well, no, we're gonna go back, but I wanna tie this thread together.
Yeah.
So let's go into who you are, where you're from. What was your upbringing like?
It was great. It was great.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Miramar, Florida. Currently there right now with my family visiting for 2 weeks. But I grew up in the same house, and 15, 18 years grew up there. I lived in Weston before that.
Okay.
And my family is from Venezuela, Caracas. And
We're
I was the
neighbors. I'm
first-
Brazilian.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Were you born here?
I was born
or
in Brazil. Yeah, I was born
there
in
you go.
Rio.
I was the first born here.
Nice.
In Hialeah.
That's awesome.
Hialeah, Florida. Yeah, and my upbringing, man, I have zero complaints. You know, there's a lot of negative stories I hear out there about upbringing and how tough they've been. I've been blessed to just have a great childhood.
That's amazing.
You know, being able to have more opportunities than others thanks to my family's well-being.
And I love that you're proud of that, because there's so many people who are embarrassed of it.
El que Dios se lo dio, Dios se lo bendiga.
Exactly.
That's it.
Amen.
You know, I see somebody who's rich, has a rich family. I hear other people saying, his daddy's rich. Good for fucking him.
Yes.
You should be striving to be like his daddy.
Exactly.
So you can give your kid the same opportunity.
Exactly.
You know? But a lot of people fail by being raised like that, because it's true that you need a little bit of hardship to be able to become the person that you need to become.
Yeah.
So thankfully for me, in my upbringing, I was introduced to certain people who have taken me through the right path. And I have been through hardship after being able to go through life easily without any type of hardship. And it was really self-made hardship because I didn't know better.
But you had the tools.
I had the tools.
You had the foundation that was given to you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I had two sides of what I experienced with my life. I had a side with a wealthy family, and I had another side with a not wealthy family. So it was a very opportunistic perspective. Now seeing it today, you wouldn't see it within life, but now seeing it today, I'm like, wow, I learned a lot about this side and how I can just correlate both, and how I should act according to this, how I shouldn't act according to that.
Right.
And you just start nitpicking and putting stuff together, and that eventually becomes your personality and how you start looking at the world. So to answer, that's a long-ass question. That's a long-ass answer. But, yeah, man, my upbringing was fine. I was just lucky enough to be introduced to the right people, to open up my perspective, to be able to focus on the right things that were going to lead me to the path I wanted to go to. I always knew I wanted to be rich. I always knew I wanted to be wealthy, have enough money to be free, to have for my family, for my kids, to travel the world.
That's really what money is. It's freedom.
It's freedom, 100%. It's all freedom. I want to do what I want, whenever I want, with who I want.
Exactly.
Where I want.
Right.
You know, and that's my definition of freedom. And it's constantly changing, your definition. And that changes with growth, you know. And I'm still learning, man. I don't know everything.
How old are you?
28.
It's a great age.
Yeah. I'm still learning. Moment you think you know everything, you lost.
I think the beauty of maturing is that you become comfortable with not knowing anything.
Exactly.
You know?
I feel fine not.
Yeah, I don't know shit.
Fuck would I want?
I don't know anything, bro. I really don't. Like, I just try shit.
The smarter you get, the more stressed out you become.
Yes, because you want it all perfect.
Hold on. I'm not saying don't be smart. You know.
No.
You
100%.
need to be smart in your own things that you do. If you own a business or if you're a professional, but in terms of learning everything about everything, it's
what you mean is probably like don't be too much in your head.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Don't nitpick everything.
Yeah. If you know everything, you know the good possibility of something and the negative possibility of something. You're constantly between the back and forth of both.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, ignorance is bliss with some things. Not saying to be ignorant, but, you know, I think that's where it lies.
It has its advantages.
It has its advantages.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Did you always want to be an entrepreneur?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I knew from a very young age. I wanted to be a doctor first.
Okay.
But it was always imposed. My family said, Sergio,
Doctor, lawyer, engineer, right? Doctor, lawyer, engineer.
Exactly. One day my mom saw that I was watching a movie about doctors. And she's like, get ese doctor. He wants to be a doctor. Stick it in his head. This is what he's gonna do. I studied.
Don't lose the opportunity. Don't let it pass away.
And then my grandfather started telling my grandmother, my dad. They're like, oh, the first doctor in the family. And I'm like, all right, this is what I'm gonna do. And growing up, I always did the pre-med. I was always going into the biology classes.
Okay.
I always chose that route. And graduating, I actually, my major was for medicine as well, and I wanted to become an orthopedic surgeon.
Okay.
But I wasn't 100% convinced until I worked at a hospital part-time. It was a summer job.
Okay.
It was an internship, and I was like, this is not the life I want. Freedom, right? If you start taking actions on the most important things that's for you, you'll start taking the right action.
Yeah, a doctor has no freedom.
No. And mind you, I have much respect for doctors.
Oh, same.
Saving lives.
Yeah, they're required.
People. I think it lies within the same category that everybody has within their own relative profession is helping people.
Right.
And it's very noble,
100%.
So I worked at this place and I realized the doctor I just spoke to hasn't seen his wife in a week. He hasn't seen his kids' football game. I'm just like, this is not for me. I left.
Yeah.
They're still emailing me today to return the ID that I took. And that's where I told my family, hey, I'm gonna drop out. No, I actually changed majors first, and then I dropped out, and that was a shit show.
Yeah, I bet.
Because I was like the pupil, and I went the unconventional way, and that's where I started reading the books. I had no idea what revenue was, profit margins. I was just in my biology.
How old
books.
were you?
Man, when I officially dropped out complete, I was probably like 19, 20. And around that time, I met one individual who I've spoken about in every single podcast I do. He's a family friend, developer, gave me a shot. His name's Rodrigo. If you're listening to this, thanks again, brother. And he gave me a shot to be in the marketing and sales department. And that's
awesome.
where I learned everything that I know today about business. I emulated how he acted, how he presented. A little bit of speech therapy for myself because I used to not be good at speaking at all. I was very shy. I was stuttering. I mean, you're behind the biology books your whole life. You don't develop those people skills.
Right.
And I mean, now I'm here. It's just a lot in between that's happened, but it's always been freedom. So the moment I didn't feel freedom working with that developer, I chose another route. And then the moment I didn't feel freedom doing what I was doing as an entrepreneur, I chose another route. Because as an entrepreneur, you can easily create a job for yourself, full-time job.
100%. You'd be locked down.
Yeah, and I get it. At first, it's a full-time job for everyone. But if you're never able to leave your own rat race, you got to figure out another scalable system. So that's been my journey.
Other than Rodrigo, who were your mentors?
My uncle is a big one, Luis. Big entrepreneur. He's handled hundreds of millions. Like money-wise, he is a guy to look up to.
That's awesome to have that growing up.
Right. My grandfather also was a figure for me as well, but he wasn't very open about giving motivational advice. It's just, do you want to work in the family business or not? No. Okay, go do something else. There's no advice. But my uncle, he has just been somebody to look up to because he made all this money. He
doing what?
He's a real estate developer, but very, very niche. So he does tuberías. How do you say that in Spanish? Tuberías. Anyway, what connects... Multi-families?
Two homes?
No. So he was building a bridge, for example, in Panama. A bridge that's going to connect to a dock for boats, right? So it's very niche. He was also building a connection between Venezuela and Aruba for oil.
Okay.
It was I think it was like a $300 million to $800 million project. That one failed because of the things that were happening in Venezuela. But all of a sudden, he was having a bunch of issues in Panama because of corruption. He said, I'm over the corruption. I'm done with it. and he decided to go full force with Sadhguru,
Really?
meditation, Kundalini yoga, and he left everything behind. He still has those things. He's selling the business, but he's not active.
Right.
He's not actively looking for a project. Now he completely changed his life, and he's working with MIT and Harvard to create a corporate meditative class and course that you can give to college students so that they can learn how to meditate their way as a professional so that they can make more money, be happier because of all the stuff that he's been through. So
Good for
that he
him.
found his purpose through that. So looking at him from afar and him giving me all the advice has just been incredible. Other people have just been people that have come and go from my life.
Yep.
Mentors, those two, I think, are the biggest ones.
Talk to me about Europe.
Man, I wish I was there right now. I love Europe. It's a different type of culture.
Yeah.
You do set your own. You know, if you let yourself get sucked in, because it's a lot more relaxed than here. Here, there's a bigger hustle culture and you know, get to work type of style.
Yeah.
If you get too relaxed over there, you will start falling behind. I did notice that. At least the first month that I was there, it was very tough.
Where were you?
Italy. First month jumping around. I mean, it was a vacation, but I still like to be on my stuff.
For sure.
But man, Europe, as long as you're disciplined and you're able to set your own environment within where you're staying, you're good, you know. And the lifestyle's cheaper. It's very, very affordable.
Are you on a sabbatical or are you moving there permanently? What's your goal? What's your idea?
No, man. I went to go see if I like Madrid.
Okay.
See if I buy a place. I definitely want to.
Yeah.
That's the place I want to stay at. But I'm doing it for me and my fiance now. I proposed to her in Lake Como.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I saw those photos and videos. Very, very beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a lot of planning, but
fancy guy.
yeah,
Lake Como.
yeah, go home, man.
Good for you.
Go big, you know.
I proposed under the Eiffel Tower.
You did?
I did.
Awesome. When was that?
I'm 36.
Okay.
So this was 12 years ago. I was 24.
Wow.
I got married at 28. Yeah.
So 4 years. Yeah, we were trying to rush it. We want to get married in February, but finding a venue, it's not enough time. So,
In Miami?
yeah, in Miami.
Yeah.
We were thinking then Miami, Europe, New York. What do we want to do?
Right.
It's just when you set yourself up that way, the whole world is an opportunity to do what you want.
Yep.
Which is why we came back and now we want to go up to. We want to live in New York for a little bit. We want to live in Boston, Nashville.
Nice. I'm from New York originally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lived there 25 years.
You like it
Not anymore.
now?
Now I like going back to visit. I'm there 4 or 5 days. I'm good.
Okay.
Do I want to own a place there one day? 100%.
Okay.
But I don't think I could live there all year round anymore.
Why?
I got tired of it. I think I've lived every part of that city.
Right.
Like I've done Park Avenue. I've done the peon work. I've done from peon work to the top level.
Gotcha.
So I used to be an IT director.
Okay.
I did IT for like 15 years. I used to work for high-end billionaire families.
Right.
I used to work for their family office, and I was their one-stop shop.
Right.
Just me managing from their kid's iPad to the network on their jet and their yacht.
Wow.
So I traveled all over the country, all over the world, supporting their homes and their equipment.
Wow.
Did that for about 6 years. I worked for 4 different families within 6 years.
How did you get that gig? It's tough to get in family offices.
So I had a really good manager when I was just a regular tech.
Gotcha.
She saw the potential in me. She got a gig working for star companies. It's a big insurance company.
Right.
She became an IT director for that company.
Got it.
She brought me with her. I was there for a little bit, and I was just so dedicated that I grew the ranks. I went from being a regular tech to a senior level tech to an executive tech. I got to the point where I was supporting only C-level suites. And I loved it. You know, I loved the attention. I loved being that go-to guy for all the top level people. Have you heard of Hank Greenberg?
No.
He was the former CEO of AIG. So during the collapse in 2010, he was outed and he went and became CEO of Star Companies.
Right.
So I was his IT guy for like 2 years.
So what do you think was different? Very interested in this topic.
Yep.
Because there's entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship, right?
Exactly.
You can really make it big within a company.
100%.
If you set yourself aside. What was that for you? What was you setting yourself aside from everyone else that could have had the same opportunity within the same organization?
I saw the opportunity to gain knowledge. I was after knowledge. I wanted to know. I'm an immigrant, right? I lived in New York illegally for 11 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Me, my mom, my dad, my sister.
Wow.
Couldn't leave the country, couldn't do shit.
Yeah.
Right? So I understand what it is to be really fucking poor. And when I got here, I wanted to be American. I wanted to know. I wanted to experience what it was to be American. Right. And once I got to start companies, man, I was a sponge. I'm just learning everything from everyone. How do you eat? How do you do? What do you drive? How do you live?
You're the type of people that sees a successful person do like even a little twitch and you start like
100%.
analyzing
why does he do that?
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah. I get what you mean.
Yeah. So even though that job was amazing, it was super, super stressful. It was a lot of responsibility.
Right.
And it burned me out. So I quit.
Okay.
And I went to work for a hedge fund billionaire named Daniel Loeb. He owns a company called Third Point. He's worth about probably like $5 billion right now. And that was my favorite family. They own a penthouse in Central Park West. They have homes in Aspen. They have a home in Miami, home in California, a home in Switzerland. And that's really where I decided to be an entrepreneur. I had no clue. I had no idea. To me, I was going to be a worker my entire life. You know, like that was going to be me, IT director, making like $250,000 a year plus bonus. Yeah. Decent life, not too crazy, you know? Something flipped where I said, you know what? I want to be you. I don't want to work for you. I want to be you. You know? Yeah. It like excited me seeing his brand new Patek Philippe worth 60 grand. Him driving his fucking Ferrari. Yeah. You know, it just excited me. It made me see what's possible in the world.
It's good that you had that perspective because a lot of people feel envy for that type of stuff. They feel like it's ridiculous to buy the expensive watch and
bro, I was so happy to be there.
Yeah.
You know, fuck that.
Yeah. Being a student.
Yes. Yeah. I'm here to learn.
Exactly.
We're all here to learn, you know? And the more I can learn from someone so successful, the more I can help myself and others.
Right. So
then at that point, I paid a dude $6,000 to teach me entrepreneurship. From LLC to S Corp, all the way to taxes, all the way to what to do.
So needed.
Yes. I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
You know?
I love you did that because when I started, I was biology all the way, and I was like, "What the fuck is an LLC?" And then an S corp could save you some money if you're
right.
Only bit. I'm like, "What the hell does this mean?" And I had to learn as my questions came in, and as I made mistakes with Google and YouTube.
Yes.
And my accountant.
Yes.
She fucked up a few times, but she's pretty good. Yeah. So you paid the $6,000, and that's where everything.
That's where things started. So I built 2 companies that failed.
Yeah.
I built my first company was I figured you know I do IT. Let me do a website company and an app building company. This was 2016.
Huge opportunity for that time.
Yeah.
Wow.
I crashed and burned.
What was the mistake that you made to
I overspent on things that I shouldn't.
Got it.
I was
As
too
in personally or
well, I was too concerned with website and logo and this and that and not really making sales.
Right.
You know?
Sometimes you just got to sell some shit.
Correct.
Yep.
I was too concerned with the image
right
than the actual hustle. right? Eventually, I understood that you have to sell the idea first before you build it. But at that time, I thought it was the opposite. I thought you gotta, if you build it, they will come.
Right.
That was my mentality.
Exactly.
But it's not. You have to sell the idea first, then they'll come.
Create the runway as you take off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So my wife is a board certified behavior analyst.
Wow.
It's a mouthful. So she has a license from the state of New York to modify behaviors.
Still practicing?
She does.
Nice.
Yeah, to modify behaviors.
Okay.
So at that time, she was working for a couple of our competitors, freelancing. She was fed up with how these companies were being ran. And they were very money hungry. They weren't caring about the client. They weren't pairing the right therapist and the right client together.
Right.
So it's chaos.
Right.
So in 2018, we built Behaviors of NYC, which is our therapy agency in New York.
Got it.
We partnered up with the DOE in New York. We are one of their contractors, and we support DOE students in school and in home. So I have a staff of about like 35 or 40 right now in New York. Yeah.
Very nice.
A team of therapists, a team of supervisors that spend about anywhere from 8 to 30 hours a week with these kids, helping them with everything, teaching them how to be more social, more to integrate them more into society.
Right. Reminds me of Montessori.
Very similar.
Yeah.
But for kids with autism.
Wow. Beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Congrats on that.
Thank you. Yeah. So it's been about 7 years, and our company just grows every single year. We make new connections. We make new partnerships, and it's incredible. We've helped so many families. Our company has become very well known within that niche. So now my goal for 2025 is to bring it to Florida. So have that division in New York and expand to Florida. So I'm currently working with a couple of schools here to get in with Medicaid and be able to support these schools with their children with autism. My 2-year goal is to build a school in Broward.
Okay.
Specifically for kids with autism.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's my bread and butter, right?
Yeah, that's like your day job almost.
Basically.
Okay.
Right? Like that's my company.
I was very curious to ask you about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's basically what I do. And it's gone so well that it's giving me the time and the money and the freedom to build this podcast.
Right. Love it.
Exactly.
And since January, you've been doing episodes every Friday.
Every single Friday, religiously, we drop an episode.
So how many... Sorry that we're getting into this.
Please, no, go for it.
How many people are you interviewing every single week?
That's a great question.
You got to do quite a few.
Yes. So this week, I'm doing 3. I did one Tuesday.
Nice. Yeah.
Doing one right now, and we have one at 5 p.m. today.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So I'm averaging about 2-3 a week.
Right.
I like to have at least a month queued up.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah. Have a runway.
Exactly.
Basically, some wiggle room.
I think you're episode 70 something.
Wow.
71, 72, something like that.
Yeah, we've done our fair share of podcasting. We started one for the hedge fund.
Yes.
Worked well. We had a guy come in. We had a football player, a guy that manages another guy that came in that manages I think it's like a few $100 million. The people you meet, man. That's why I like to ask you questions too, because
yes,
we're all learning always.
100%.
Right? There's always something to learn, but the people you meet is awesome.
It's invaluable. It's everything.
Yeah. And as a marketing strategy, it's fantastic. We
100%.
tell this to our clients all the time. If you want to create content, get on like 5 podcasts a month.
Yes.
And you'll have content to spare.
Exactly.
You know, you chop those up, you get 15, 20 videos, and you're shooting to the moon. You know,
100%. And, you know, I began liking it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people see, I know a few people who like, man, I hate creating content. Such a hassle, this and that. I fucking love it.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's easy.
It is.
You know, you're
once you get the hang of it.
Yes. Just be yourself.
You get out of your own way.
Yes.
Content becomes the center of your entire brand.
Yes.
You know, when we tell our clients what they got to do for their online brands and businesses, it always starts with content. It never starts anywhere else. You know, how's your content doing? Do you have a strategy? Do you have your plan? Do you even know yourself? Because the process of creating content has a lot to do with knowing yourself, getting to know yourself.
100%.
You know, because you start saying some shit in front of the camera and you're like, I didn't even know I thought that way. You know? And
you know what? That's very true.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah. Once you're in the flow of things,
yeah,
you start learning even about yourself.
Sergio, I've worked for 3 hedge fund billionaires.
Mm-hmm.
And in my mind, that's always been a white man's game. They dominate that game.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And to build a hedge fund, in my mind, you gotta come from a lot of money. That's how I've seen it, right? I think I've broken that frame a little bit. But to me, it's just this unattainable white man's world that it's for them to run and control and not for us.
Right.
How did you break into that?
The opportunities presented themselves and the tools are available, right? With a good brand, content, being able to get into the right rooms through content was what helped us push. Because we've been building our pages for many years. I mean, we have strong online brands. And thanks to that, we're just able to create content around an opportunity. In this case, it was a financial opportunity.
Right.
And like that, we got on YouTube, podcasts. We did everything we could possibly do, along with inviting older clients from other businesses that would see our stuff and would ask us. But that's the way we raise money. We raised about 12, 15 million in less than 12 months.
That's awesome. Congrats.
And thank you. And it was a journey. I mean, it was a lot of fun. Right now we have our private equity fund. We have Flexport shares that we're waiting for it to IPO. And then we also are in the works of building up a real estate fund. But it's I don't know if you know this guy, Bridger Pennington, Fund Launch.
Sounds very familiar.
Right. We didn't do...
I know Fund Watch.
Fund Launch.
Fund Launch, not Fund Watch. Okay,
yeah.
got it. And I don't know Fund Launch.
Yeah. So Fund Launch, he helps break that barrier for people, and he helps them open up their hedge funds with the right regulations and the right mindset, how to raise money, how to get into the right rooms.
Right.
We didn't do it through him, but he is a perfect example and a testimonial to show that you don't need to be a white man in Wall Street with the right connections and the right rooms to be able to raise millions, if not billions of dollars. Social media has opened up that opportunity to people as well. You just need the right vehicle. Okay, so through the first hedge fund that we built, we got in touch with the guy that gives us the opportunities for pre-IPO shares.
Okay.
And that's where we got that opportunity, just being at the right place at the right time, man. We didn't even ask for that. We were just at the right place, right time, gave us an opportunity. We created a structure. We raised money for Flexport. And then we're just waiting for the next capital call, whenever that is. But it's a very passive type of business right now. Real estate is mainly our next play, just because opportunities are going to start coming up in single family.
Yeah, for sure.
We're building some single family homes from scratch. And that's going to be the next thing that we want to do in the hedge fund space. But our main focus right now is marketing.
Was there
is bread and
any,
butter.
did you invest any of your own money in that or no?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Everything we do, we invest money first. That's kind of like our testament.
Did you borrow money to invest, or was it your own savings?
It could be a mix of both. You can't really borrow much money to invest into an offering, right? You can't swipe a credit card and buy an offering.
Right.
Usually it's through savings, or you get a HELOC on a house that you have if you want to risk that.
Right.
But it could be a mix of both for people. You know, people might have an IRA or a 401k that they want to transfer to an investment, knowing the risks, of course, and that's it.
Very interesting, man.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of you.
It's been very different. You know, we're very used to being free with our content, free with how we are. And in the hedge fund space, there's a lot of red tape. There's a lot of ways that you need to
SEC,
act.
right?
SEC regulation, regulations everywhere, really, depending on what you're raising money for.
Right.
Especially in the private equity space. But we were so used to that, and then we started getting into the space, and we started wearing the suits. We started dressing nicer. We started getting into rooms, speaking a little more professionally. And for me, that was kind of like the most difficult aspect, because I just love to be me. I love to talk how I talk, dress how I dress. And in this case, I mean, that was like, okay, now I got to change up a little bit. So it was just adapting to that environment. And then marketing, you do your thing as well. You adapt to that environment. But
are you guys actively accepting clients into the hedge fund?
if there's an opportunity,
Yeah.
Not anymore because Flexport's done. That one is closed out.
Got it.
But if we do have an opportunity in private equity, absolutely. If we have an opportunity in equities, we would do it as well. Real estate is, again, once that's done, because right now we do it through promissories, right? Like you would go buy a property through a promissory note, you give a loan.
Right.
So we want to go a little bit bigger than that. And because of that, we have a fund structure that we just need to finish a little more paperwork and then start accepting capital through there.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's so incredible.
Yeah.
And
Learning through experience.
100%. And I love that you have the balls to go through it seriously.
Yeah.
Because it's not everyone that can, at 28, that can raise $15 million and have a hedge fund.
Well, it wasn't just me. It was myself.
I understand that, but you're definitely a part of that.
100%.
You know?
100%. Yeah.
So it's very inspiring.
Yeah. Thank you.
You know, it's very, very cool.
Yeah, I definitely got more gray hairs because of that business.
I believe it.
You know? And thanks to that business, if anything, we started getting really, really good at creating systems. Because
you have to, right?
Yeah, for that business, communication is key, documentation is key, data is extremely key. Whenever there's an audit or anything that you need to present.
Or security, right?
Or security.
Yeah.
It's extremely important to have systems. Thanks to that business, we got really good at creating systems, and now we use the same systems for our marketing agency that we've had since 2017 it started.
That's powerful.
And the marketing agency, we always ran it without systems. We always did things kind of like,
like winging
bootstrapping, winging it, spreadsheets, manual, everything. And then a few years back, or I'm sorry, this year, we officially started new offers with systems, and the growth has been exponential. I mean, it's so much easier to scale a business with systems from the beginning.
Right.
Which is funny that you mentioned you having the whole aesthetic look of your first business on building websites.
Yep.
In my opinion, yes, that aspect isn't really as important, but if you start building systems in parallel to your sales, man, it's going to be a way easier ride for you in the future as you build that system, that business.
Do you sell your system? Do you teach others?
I do, yeah. We started doing that about 6 months ago.
How's that going?
Incredible.
That's very lucrative.
It's very lucrative because it's not just consulting, but we actually do work within their system. So we go in there, we create the automations. We first listen to the client. What do you want to sell? First of all, what's your business?
Right.
Is this something that you just want to white label services and create an organization with it? Or do you have a fitness business that you want to digitize and create offerings through there?
Right.
When they tell us, we create the game plan, but we create the automations, clients, workflows, client journeys, lead journeys, onboarding, offboarding, so that all they have to do is send a payment link to a lead. When the lead closes, they go through their journey entirely without any hands-on, unless the person wants to do a consultation call as part of their plan. But yeah, we either do that or we consult on creating systems.
Incredible.
It's just very powerful. A lot of entrepreneurs.
Extremely. It's the foundation of your company.
And it becomes sellable.
Yes.
You can't sell a business without systems.
No, you can't.
Because you're selling yourself.
Right.
You're the value. If you're the value, nobody's going to want to buy you.
If you can't replace yourself, nobody wants that business.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is the pitch, right? It's entrepreneurs having a business for way too long without systems. They created a 24/7 job for themselves, and we got to know their goals. If your goal is to scale beyond where you are and break the glass ceiling and sell your business down the road, this is the way to go. And having subscriptions, a lot of subscription-based services. Yeah.
That's the future, right?
That's the future. Yeah, that for me, that's my main, a big focus right now is building up an infrastructure for us to scale along with our clients, right? Because building systems is not an easy task.
Right.
So we got to have a big team. We got to build our own systems within that big team.
You need cash flow. Yeah.
Cash flow.
Monthly cash flow.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Let's go deep into marketing.
Let's do it. Let me turn my phone off. It's blowing me up.
Do what you got to do.
Jesus Christ.
You're a popular man, bro.
Oh, my God. I'm going to throw it out. All right. Let's talk about marketing.
Let's do it. I feel like marketing is always changing, or it feels like it's always changing.
Correct.
But it's really not. I feel it's more like IG algorithm changing, and we call that marketing sometimes.
Right.
Right?
Right.
What is marketing in 2025? Let's start there.
Capturing attention. Simple.
That's simple.
That's simple. Capturing
I
attention.
love that definition.
People hate to buy, but people hate to be sold, but they love to buy.
Yes.
And in order for you to do that, it has to be through organic content, the right type of advertising, the right type of attention capture. How you retain that attention is also extremely important. And then having the right offer once you retain it. It's that simple. I mean, if people spend more time learning how to capture and retain attention, which is what we teach our clients to do as well through their content strategy, they will be more successful. But they're more focused on their own brand and how they want to look on social media versus knowing how they should look on what people are currently searching for. Because the algorithm changed once TikTok changed. TikTok changed it to full interest-based, and Instagram followed suit, which means that if you have 1,000 followers versus 100,000 followers, you have the same opportunity to reach the same amount of people. Doesn't matter how many followers you have. That changed the game completely. So now it's an attention game. How can you capture as much attention as possible, no matter how many followers you have?
Would you say that authenticity is probably the best tool in that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Look at all the founder-led online businesses that are out there. They're all authentic. People follow them because they're real.
Yeah.
The parameters of branding have been expanded towards caring too much about how you look as a brand, being so tight within your box, to being a little more focused on what people actually want to see, which is usually a lot more authentic and relaxed.
Yeah.
You know, obviously depending on the business and the expectation for that business. You know, I can't brand our marketing agency the same way that I brand our hedge fund. It's going to be off. Because you expect in a hedge fund to be professional, to be well-spoken, dressed well, secure. But if you hop on a Zoom call and I'm wearing a tank top, you know, and I'm speaking how I speak, however I want,
it's not going to fit.
It's not going to fly.
Right.
Right. So you got to know the expectation, but also be authentic within that parameter.
What would you say to someone that's trying to capture that attention? Top 3 things they can do. What would you say?
Number one is always think about promote. Okay. If your objective is to capture attention to monetize, you need to promote. Promote the fuck out of your service, yourself. Don't be scared to promote because people's attention spans are very short. If you promote today and you capture that attention and people are like, yes, I love your promotion. Tomorrow they're on to the next, not tomorrow, the next hour they're on to the next promotion. They already forgot about your offer. So people might get too scared to talk about the same thing too often, but marketing is talking about the same thing in different ways. So you have to figure out different ways of doing the same thing over and over and over again, because then you buy a little something which is called real estate in their mind, which is going to remind them on what you do, who you are, where you're located, and where you fit in the space and category within that industry.
I think that went over a lot of people's head.
Yes. Yes.
That was powerful.
Yeah.
Capturing real estate in their mind.
Correct.
When you say that, I think of Coca-Cola and Pepsi.
Yeah.
And how
Household
they
brands, names,
own
10X.
Yes.
There's a lot of guys who still use 10X in their business, but it always goes back to Grant Cardone.
Right.
You're not going to think of Dan Locke. He says 10X too.
Right.
Nobody knows who Dan Locke is, except if you're in his network.
Right.
But everybody knows who Grant Cardone is. Look at how he's positioned himself. He's in politics now. He went to rallies. He started doing political speeches. 10X is going to be fucking engraved
Huge.
in people's head for a very long time.
Oh, yeah.
He's been very good at capturing attention and buying that real estate in their minds. And it's going to stick. It's going to stick.
That's incredible. How big is your marketing agency currently?
Right now, we have a team of about 40 people. A lot of editors. That's the majority of them are editors,
Right, makes
obviously.
sense. Yeah.
A lot of account managers. Right now, we have about 3-4 account managers that are managing client accounts. Myself, my 2 other partners, Cody and Justin. And then sales department is really us. We drive majority of our revenue, but we also have affiliates, and everybody has the opportunity to sell. Clients, we have over 100 people on subscription services, constantly growing.
Including myself?
Including yourself. We've actually grown 600% in new customers over the last few months. Right now, it's probably more since I checked the data, but
That's awesome.
it's
Why?
the approach.
What changed the approach?
The approach. That's it. The approach. It's going back, asking yourself, what's not working? Why is it not working?
Right.
Well, obviously because you're speaking like you want to be seen. Nobody gives a fuck how you want to be seen. People want to see what they want to see, so get in front of that.
Don't wish things were different.
Don't
wish you were better.
Exactly. So we shifted and we decided to change our messaging and offer in a way where, number one, it's different. It's a different wording.
Right.
The same service, it's just different because people hear the same thing over and over and over again and eventually just don't even like hearing it.
Right.
And then being able to capture the attention with what people actually want to see. Okay, how it can benefit you within 2 lines of reading the pitch. And that's it. That's the only thing that changed. We didn't have to go back, change our website. We didn't have to go back, change our entire systems. We didn't have to go interview all of our clients to see what we were doing wrong.
Right.
It's just changing what people, or adapting to what people want to see.
What made you realize that was the change that was required?
Well, actually, Justin, he's our head of sales. He realized that because he's very witty at how he speaks. And he's like, man, people just they don't like to hear the same pitch anymore, right? What exactly does this offer solve for people? It helps distribute content. It helps push things out there into the algorithmic ether that nobody understands anymore. How can I put that into words easy enough to understand a grandmother could understand? That's it. That's it. It's the game of marketing and business is sometimes way too simple. It goes over people's
I
heads.
agree.
Yeah.
We overcomplicate it for sure.
Right. Because all of the books that we read overcomplicate it.
Yeah.
You know, the business degrees, the marketing degrees, books, it's very outdated. Today, people are so connected that you can actually start feeling frequencies through videos on how people speak.
100%.
And if you're able to be a very good communicator and you're able to put together the right message with the right offer and be authentic, you're winning. You're winning. But first, you got to find your voice, kind of like how you and I have done.
Yeah. It's incredible. Where do you want to be in 5 years?
I want this marketing agency to have at least $1 million to $2 million in recurring revenue, sticky, every single month. I want our hedge fund, private equity hedge fund, to have another $10, $20 million added to it with new offerings, if not more, along with the real estate fund to be massive. I'm also trading a little bit. I started trading, by the way. I didn't mention this on my up and coming, but that's what helped me quit my first job.
Okay.
And I've gone back into it. I'm back and forth, but I figured out a strategy that's been working very well for me.
What's it called? There's day trading, and then there's the other term that I forgot.
Which one?
It's more like a weekend trader, right? It's like
Day trading and
I forgot the
swing
term.
trading.
Swing. Is it swing trading? Yeah,
Yeah, I
swing
think
trading. Yeah.
Day is, intraday.
Right,
You
right.
buy and sell within the day, and then
Right.
swing, you buy and you sell within the next 3 days, a week, a month, whatever it is.
What would you call yourself?
Mix of both.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm in I'm in crypto right now, just
Okay.
because it's inevitable to avoid.
Yeah, it's true.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
The volume is too good to ignore. Right now, I'm a swing trader with the opportunities I'm seeing. So there's these things called ranges, right, where there's a price difference between where the price has a support, where it has a resistance, and it stays within that range.
Right.
I'm just trading those. Sometimes those ranges take a few days to reach the top. Sometimes it takes an hour. So that's why it's a mix of both.
Got it.
If I see the opportunity to sell, I sell. Nobody got broke taking profits. So always take your profits. Don't
Nobody
ever
got
leave.
broke taking profits.
Nobody went broke taking profits.
Wow.
No matter if your profit is a 2% increase or a 50 or 100% increase on the day. You're not going broke.
Do you place a difference in Bitcoin and crypto?
What do you mean?
I feel like a lot of people remove Bitcoin from that crypto definition.
Well, yeah, because it has a lot more uses, right? Bitcoin is just something that's going to store value for a very long time. It has a limited supply, and because of that, the market cap is just going to continue to rise, and so is the price. It's a great way to replace currency because it has a limited amount of Bitcoin that's able to be mined versus global currencies.
Right.
That's how I view Bitcoin, and I see it as an indicator for everything else that I want to trade. Right.
Okay.
So if Bitcoin's going up, usually I see volume coming in and it goes up, it rises. If the smaller coins haven't gone up, that means that when Bitcoin starts coming down, usually maybe 7 times out of 10, altcoins follow suit when Bitcoins go down because people are just taking profits and parking them somewhere else to win more.
Got it.
It just becomes a mix of supply and demand between both. But I do like to separate Bitcoin with all the other shit coins that exist. Yeah.
How do you see Ether, XRP? How do you see these cryptos?
If you want to cry a little bit, I bought Ethereum at $34 back in 2017.
Wow.
Bitcoin at 2,000 and Litecoin at 4. ADA was less than a cent. All these little coins.
Did you hold? Or you
No.
hold?
I made a lot of money.
Good.
Enough for me to quit my job and sustain myself for a long time.
That's incredible.
But if I would have held now, I don't even want to do the math. It would have been millions just holding. But nobody knows the future, right? Again, nobody went broke taking profits. I took my profits and I just moved on to something else. Started trading currencies, Forex, stocks. Got good at stocks. Just they're a little boring for me. I like the action. And yeah, it's just, it's a hobby for me almost. I don't treat it like a business, which isn't good if you're trying to make it into a full-time thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I think you will one day. I think you'll make that switch.
With what I'm doing now, it's possible, but I need to test it for years. For you to test out the right strategy, it's always going to change, but the fundamental is what never changes. The strategy within the intraday trading is what changes constantly. A strategy won't never work forever, but the fundamentals of that strategy
Makes sense.
will. Yeah.
Do you want kids?
I do. Yeah, that's why we're traveling like crazy for this next year, because when we have kids, we know that we're going to be locked down. But we met this...
Only first 2 years.
Are you?
I have 2 kids.
Do you have?
2.
And you're still traveling?
I got a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old,
Yeah.
and we're going to the Bahamas on Sunday.
Wow. Well, that's not bad.
Too bad.
I'm talking about the first like 2 years that I'm gonna have to be locked up in my
So
home.
I had an 11. So I had a 3-year-old and an 11-month-old at the time. This was about 2 years ago. No,
Right.
a year ago, and we traveled to Greece.
Oh, how'd
It
that
was
go?
a 23-hour journey. It was a 13-hour flight, Miami, Istanbul.
Right.
Got there, 3-hour layover, and then 4 hours from Istanbul to Greece. I got to Greece at a 3-hour drive.
Jesus Christ. How was that?
You know what? It was pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, overall, it was pretty good. My kids are pretty good.
I think you did a good job with doing it young, because if
Yeah.
you get them used to it from a very young age, that's what's gonna help. We met a couple over there that has 3 of them, and their latest kid is like not even a year old, and they're traveling Europe.
Yeah?
They're going everywhere. They're homeschooling too.
That helps.
That helps a ton.
Yeah. We went to Rio in March.
Okay.
So my kids are pretty well traveled at a very young age.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, I
So
traveled
it's
a lot when
definitely
I was young,
doable.
too.
Don't
is.
think that life ends.
That's how we see it.
It does not.
That's why we're booking everything right
No,
now.
I am
New York,
telling you,
Boston, Madrid,
It
Italy.
does not. You put a pause. You put
Yeah.
a bookmark.
Yeah, it's only like what? You can't travel with an infant for how long? Like 6 months, a year.
About 6 months.
So it's like, I gotta
Yeah.
hold it on for 6 months.
I would say from like 7-month pregnancy
Right.
to the kid being about 6-month-old. So almost a year,
Got it.
I would
Okay.
say. Because you don't want to travel with 7-month-old pregnant woman. It's way too hard.
Right. No.
It's way too hard.
No. My fiance's already putting in booking dates for massages while she's pregnant.
Yeah.
She told me, you're going to owe me all the massages in the world. I
Yeah.
don't know what it is with women and massages, but you guys want them all the time. It's like crazy. Camila, if you're listening to this, we'll handle that later. Yeah.
But yeah, so I see you as a very, very driven person.
Yeah.
Extremely driven.
Yeah.
You have your fingers in a lot of different things. I love that. I think it's necessary and required. I think your drive feeds off energy. It gives off energy. And I think others can capture that energy and motivate themselves because of it. I think you having a kid is going to give you an entirely new level of drive.
I can see that happening.
100%. Because I see who you are, and I know what my kid did for me. I can see it doing the same thing for you. Because once you have a kid, it's no longer about you.
Right.
Like, clearly, you're important,
Yeah.
but your kid comes first.
I know.
And you want to go harder. You want to create more. You want to build more.
You look at their face and you're
Exactly.
like, this is for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
When my kid walked in here, he's like, wow, Daddy, you have a studio?
How'd that feel?
It felt so cool.
Yeah.
It felt so cool.
Yeah.
You know? And then we're driving back home and he goes, Daddy, I want my own studio one day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And I said, don't worry, buddy, you will.
Yeah.
You sure will.
Yeah.
You know, that lights me up.
I love that.
It makes me want to go even harder.
Yeah.
So I can see that effect occurring with you, and you go into a whole new stratosphere.
Maybe that's the little push that I need, man. You know?
I don't think you need a push. I don't think you need a push.
I feel like I'm pretty driven, but for me, you set the standard eventually for your drive.
Yeah.
You know, the standard of how you want to live. If something doesn't fit your standard, you immediately feel uncomfortable. You set a habit so engraved in your head that when you deviate from it, it's inevitable for you to fall back into it, if that makes sense.
100%.
You know?
It's like flying first class.
Yeah, or flying private, then you're really fucked.
Oh, you're fucked.
Yeah, then you're really fucked. So it's like every time you even fly first class, you're like, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it becomes part of your personality,
Yeah.
part of your identity. You identify as a driven person. You
Right.
know?
Take pride in that.
You take pride in that.
Yeah.
100%. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, we anything we do, there's always a routine
Yeah.
to everything that we do.
A system.
A system. Yeah. Yes. Love that.
Let's go into it. 11/11. We both
Same
have a
tattoo.
tattoo. Both of us.
Yes.
I got it on my left arm.
Uh-huh.
You have it
Left
on your
arm.
right.
Left arm?
Left arm too.
Left-
Look at
left-
that.
left hand.
Are you a lefty?
No, I'm a righty.
I'm a lefty. Okay.
Yeah, it just felt right.
It
on the
fits
left.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you?
It means many things, man.
I agree.
Through the journey, you tend to start getting spiritual when things get tough because you don't know where else to go.
Yeah.
You know, and that's-
Entrepreneurship is a spiritual journey. I don't
Oh
care
my
what
God,
anybody
It
says.
is a spiritual game.
Yeah.
Because it has a lot to do with letting go. And
Right.
letting go means letting go in something higher powered than you that's going to be able to fix the issue or help you
Right.
get there.
Yeah.
You can't just let go and expect something to happen without a higher power conspiring to help you get there.
100%.
So-
You do your part, it meets you in the middle.
Yeah, yeah. Your daily activity, what you do in your process is up to you. The result isn't really up to you, man.
Right.
You know, the result just happens on its own. By
Exactly.
doing it. You have to trust it's going to happen.
The wave collapses.
Exactly. you put yourself in the right situation.
Yeah.
So 11/11, I see it all the time since I was young. I never thought anything
too.
of it. Same with like 444, but I just like 11/11. And every time I'm thinking of something either negative or positive, it doesn't matter. It goes both ways. That's how I see it.
Right.
Negative reminds me to get back on track. Something positive reminds me that I am on track. That I am on
Yes.
track.
I agree 100%.
Yeah, and then sometimes you just kind of, I pray. I'm not
Same.
very religious,
More spiritual.
more spiritual.
Yeah,
but
same.
I pray. I grew up Catholic, if you couldn't tell, St. Michael, Heart of Jesus. And
Got Jesus right here.
love it, love it. Yeah, I've been thinking of what else to put on my skin, but yeah, that's, I pray, and sometimes I'm praying, and I see 11/11 on the clock, and then
Yeah.
I see it on my hand, and I'm like, damn. Now we got 2 11.
I'm aligned.
I'm very aligned. And it's
Yes.
just a reminder. That's it. And
I
I loved
agree.
it so much. I wanted to see it all the time. So if I'm writing or if I'm on my phone, it's right there. You know, it's right there.
I love that.
Yeah.
So I've started a new tradition.
Uh-huh.
You're the second person that's going to do it.
Okay.
I grew up a big nerd, big into Marvel, Avengers, and all that.
Okay.
But the question of, I think today in society, a lot of people struggle with the question of value and worthiness.
Yep.
And we're all worthy.
Yeah.
And I think people aren't able to see their light, aren't able to see
Yeah.
their own brightness, right? And able to use that as fuel and let that drive you and motivate you and catapult you, right? So do me a favor. Remember the scene in Avengers Age of Ultron
Okay.
when Captain America grabs Thor's hammer
Right.
And he almost lifts it.
Right.
And then in Endgame, he actually grabs it and hits it, right? Grab Thor's hammer, please. Right there.
Oh, man. Okay.
Yes. A little heavy. There we go. Have a seat. Tell me, please, what does worthiness and value mean to you, and how others can discover their own value and worthiness?
I think we always forget that we already have the answers to many questions that we have. But life tends to get in the way. Life tends to fog it out. You just got to get a little more used to being able to looking within than trying to look for external factors, which dilutes more and more your own light. It won't allow you to continue to look for the answers that you're looking for, which goes back to intuition and understanding that if you don't feel valuable in a certain situation or a certain environment, it just might not be your environment, but you are valuable, and the process of life is to find where you are most valuable. And sometimes you just might be stuck in a place because of your ego. Ego keeps you there. But if you break it down and you're honest with yourself. I did a prayer before coming here. 5 years ago, I would have said, man, I want to show up to this podcast and fucking crush it. I'm going to be the man. No, I was like, I'm just going to be myself. Because I already know what I'm going to say.
Because you already are the man.
I'm already the man.
Yeah.
Everybody is the man
or the woman, right?
In their own specific regard. You just got to start trusting yourself a little more in that. Because people lose trust within themselves because they might be in the wrong environment. Again, let go of your ego. Know that you matter a lot more than you think. Life is about helping others, and it starts with helping yourself. And the beginning of helping yourself is letting go of your ego and getting in the right environment, the right situation that's going to help you to grow and help you help more people. It's all about helping people. You feel really good in that, and your light's only going to shine brighter by doing that. So,
amen. Preach.
You know, I thought this was going to be stuck to a magnet, and I was ready. I'm like, I'm going to lift this thing.
I'm glad you did. It's pretty heavy. It's not that light.
It's a good weight.
It's like a good weight.
5 pound dumbbell.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you for doing that. I really appreciate you.
It's like this, right?
Yeah, angled. Like that? Whichever way. Could be like that. Yep.
Yeah, man. I've been stuck in that thought, in that mindset for so long because you look at other people and you want to compare yourself
always
to other people, and that's the killer of dreams.
It really is.
The person is where they are because they decided to be authentic with themselves, not because of the person next to them.
Right.
You know,
that person can inspire you, right? But if you are constantly comparing yourselves to where they are and where you are,
right,
it's a recipe for disaster.
It is. It is.
It really
you
is.
You start getting envious. You start looking at what they do as something negative for you.
Right.
And it doesn't affect you in any way. People's success. This is why there's so many haters out there, and it sucks because the majority of people are in the wrong environment, wrong mindset.
Right.
But everybody really has the opportunity to do what they need to do. They just haven't been guided there yet. So it's our job really as creators on social media, which is the most interconnected way to connect with a massive scale of people, to be able to spread that light and to help people say, fuck you, fuck your ego, be authentic, get out there, because you can help people too. You know, you never know who you're influencing, which is what we started talking about. I'm glad it's what we ended talking with.
I think one of the greatest compliments is turning a hater into a follower.
100%. Take it with grace.
Yeah.
You know, whatever they say is a reflection of themselves, not you.
For sure.
You know, whatever people say might be an insecurity of them. The other day I was talking to a guy, and I told him at the end of the conversation, I'm like, brother, what you're saying sounds more like an insecurity than a doubt. You know, what are you insecure about? He never answered me. But I hope it sparked an idea which might flourish. That seed might flourish 5 years down the road because our ego doesn't allow it to flourish.
Right.
But you can let it flourish the same hour you listen to it.
Tons of barriers in the way.
Yeah, smartest people in the world are those who can realize that they're doing the wrong thing and fix it immediately.
Yes.
The dumbest people in the world are those who continue to do the wrong thing and don't fix it for a very long time. I've been smart, I've been dumb. I'd rather be smart. So if somebody tells me I'm dumb at something, I'm going to internally look at myself and realize that, I'm being dumb. I need to change it.
Yeah.
You know?
If you're smart, you will listen to your haters. They're giving you free game.
Yeah, exactly. I appreciate you.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
I will be better.
No, it's like, thank you for fueling my success. Hopefully down the road, you realize that you actually helped me.
Yeah.
Because people do things people do things to try to hurt others, right? But it's the job of the other person to take it in as a help. And that's actually either going to hurt the person more that's doing the hating or change them into a follower. So always take things with grace, man. Fuck what people say. They're always going to say something. The bigger you get, the more your haters you're going to have.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I don't understand people who dedicate their time to talking trash about others.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
How you waste that energy on being so negative.
I look at videos sometimes, even of myself, people talking about me on YouTube, Instagram, and other people, and my energy just depletes. Not because I'm worried about what they're saying about me, but it's just the words that they're saying are so hateful that you're just like, man, fuck this guy.
I know what you mean.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you shift to something else to get out of that.
Right.
You know, if you're a hater, I'm praying for you, man. You know, it's just.
I'm sorry you feel that way.
Yeah, I'm sorry about your feelings, but you know, just
sorry, not sorry. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it doesn't affect anything whatsoever. It just gives me something to reflect. It doesn't affect, it reflects. So it's a mirror that goes both ways, right? You say something hateful, it's a mirror for yourself.
Karma.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Life handles it all.
Amen.
Amen to that.
Sergio, it's been amazing.
Thank you, man. Likewise.
Let the people know where they can follow you. How can they become a client? Your social, your website, whatever you want to share.
Instagram, Sergio Troconis, Troconis _ If you put it under here, that would be perfect.
100%. I will put it all down there.
Know how to spell my last name.
I got you.
That's really the main hub that I put everything on. I have a TikTok. Don't really use it too much. LinkedIn, but Instagram is where it's at. I got my website in there, my description of services, everything you need to know. If you either want to brand yourself, you want to build systems within your brand, it could be either a physical business or an online business, doesn't matter. Systems are important if you want to go beyond where you are. So that's where you'll find me.
Incredible. Yeah. Guys, if you are an entrepreneur and you didn't get value from this podcast, you're not listening. Open your ears.
It's huge.
Sergio dropped gem after gem after gem. This is someone that's out there doing it. Someone who's out there in the hustle every single day. This man has his hands in 5 cookie jars. Go follow him. Go learn from him. Go become a client. Like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, man. Incredible.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
I love these type of real conversations.